Hey guys, Rashawn Midget here. So I'm going to be doing a video on my AR-15 rifle. Now I've had this for a long time. So this is the first gun I ever owned. I was about, I want to say 19 or 20 when I put this together. So I was at least a year older than 18. I didn't get a gun right away. So I built this myself-ish. I mean, the lower receiver I bought brand new from a guy that I met on Facebook. That was when Facebook actually allowed gun groups to buy, sell, and trade. Like people, same with airsoft. People would just post like, "Hey, I have an upper for sale." You couldn't sell like full guns. There were some restrictions, but he had this upper receiver on there. So I actually met him just around the corner at a shopping center and bought the upper from him, which already had the barrel in it. Got a charging handle and bolt carrier for it, and then I bought a Palmetto State lower receiver complete, changed some things. So this has gone through a lot of changes over the years. So I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll just start from what's on here. So let's start from the back and go to the front. So I have a Magpul stock. This is actually one of the parts that's original. It came on the lower receiver when I bought it. Again, it was a Palmetto State lower. Standard buffer tube that was on there. Pistol grip I changed, and I believe one person pointed this out to me. I think this is an airsoft grip. It says PTS. I believe PTS is kind of the airsoft line of Magpul stuff. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. So this would be geared towards like a gas blowback rifle, because of course it's not a motor grip for an AEG. So I think it would be geared towards technically like a gas blowback rifle, but I've had it on here for at least 4 years, and I like it a lot. The angle of it, the thickness. I don't like the little back hump on here that some of the Magpul grips come with, like this one. I took this off, put the Hogue on my other AR, but I don't like that back lip. This is one of those Magpuls. So that's what this came with, if I remember correctly. It does have the standard safety on it, selector switch. I didn't change that out. It does have the Magpul bad lever. You can see there, and that transfers over here, so you can drop the bolt with your pointer finger, trigger finger. The charging handle is the original that I've bought. It's gone through, it has quite a bit of wear and tear on it. I did use a Strike Industries latch blue. I don't really know why I went with blue, because I didn't really do like blue accents. This is just the first AR. Blue's my favorite color, so that's what I went with. But I don't have any other blue on here. So it is what it is. It's just the extended latch for the one side, and then just a regular charging handle, and it's been beat up here. The trigger I have in here is a CMC brand. It's the straight trigger. It's a cool profile. It looks kind of similar to like a Crytac trigger is the best way I can describe. It's a pretty cool profile. The trigger itself has been okay. The trigger's not the best. I have better triggers for sure, but I bought this back when I built the gun, so it's like 5 years old. I've had a couple of times where it doesn't reset, and you have to apply lube to the springs and like the shaft where the hammer rides, because it's just not resetting very well. I mean, I very rarely have issues with it. It's happened like 2 different times where I noticed that it just stopped resetting quite as well. Like you'd have to let go of the trigger completely, or even kind of push it forward and help it, assist it to reset, because the spring wasn't too strong. All it needed was the lower cleaned and lube oil added to like the springs. I do have a dust cover on here that's got the Ohio state logo on there, and the flag on the other side. That's really cool. I got that from, I believe it's My Southern Tactical is the brand. The magazine catch is standard. On my other 2 ARs, I did change out the magazine catch. I did an extended one. I forget what brand it is exactly off the top of my head, but I don't see the necessity of doing that on here. It's like a target shooting gun, long range. I don't really need that extra reload speed, if you will. I mean, I can still reach. Standard AR-15 magazine catches aren't bad. Again, Palmetto State Lower Saver, the PA-15, it's kind of their classic with their logo on it. I'll just show you what it looks like. What is it? The crossed cannons with a mound of cannonballs. So the upper receiver on here, I'm not actually 100% sure what brand the receiver is, the upper. I do not remember. Now, the rail, I also do not remember. I bought it so long ago, and again, it came complete. The guy had put it on there. Now, it is key mod, so key mod's like back in, early 2000s. So I bought this, and it was about 2016, I believe is when I put this thing together. Maybe late 2015. I think it was like 2016. So, key mod back then was, I guess, still popular. M-Lock started being a lot more popular, and it's been 5-6 years since then, and M-Lock is the way to go, but key mod wasn't necessarily crapped upon back then. Now it is. It's definitely archaic, but it works. There's no reason to change it. Now, it is heavy. This rail, there's one con to it. It is definitely heavy. It's like a Picatinny type rail. Like if you were to have a Picatinny with rails all over it, that's how heavy this thing is. It's not skeletonized. I mean, there are cutouts on the top here, but it is a very heavy rail. Like compared to my Midwest Industries on my 14.5 AR, it's actually about the same length. This might be an inch or two longer, but that thing is like half the weight of this. So it is a very heavy rail. I may change it down the line, maybe 3-4 years from now, but this isn't a main fighting rifle. So it's more of a target shooting gun just for fun at the range. So I'm just going to keep it. The the grip on the front is BCM. It is like, is it called like 95 degrees or something like that? It's almost completely vertical, but not quite. And I have it angled forward a little bit so you can pull it back. I love these grips a lot. So that is huge. Now that is a key mod, so it attaches not to a Picatinny. So that's cool. The bipod on here is a no name. Actually, it's UTG, which is still kind of no name. I mean, UTG is relatively popular. They make budget parts, a lot of airsoft stuff as well. But this actually came with my 1022 Ruger. So I bought a Ruger 1022 pistol, 10-inch, and for some reason, it's like the tactical version, and it came with one of these. It's so weird. I have no idea why, but it just sat and collected dust until about a year ago. I tossed it on here, and I like it. Just for bench shooting, it is a very cool... I literally didn't pay anything for it because it came with a gun, and you can extend it by unthreading these, and then it's got a spring, so like you can unthread it. Yeah, so it's decent. The barrel on here is a 1-in-9 twist wild barrel, 223 wild, which can use 5.56 and 223, but I'm not an expert. I've always heard that the wild barrel has a little bit tighter tolerance in the chamber, so it shoots more accurately with the 223, whereas with the 5.56, it's not as tight of a tolerance, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you're an expert or whatever, but this gun is very accurate, and I've shot this a lot. So the barrel, the guy, when I bought it from him, said it had hardly been used, so I just took his word for it. I have shot probably 10,000 rounds of steel case through this gun, like over the 5 years. Before the whole Russian... ammo ban, if you will, which happened recently. I was buying a 500 case of 223, and I was shooting that in 1 day out of this gun. But it does have the wild barrel, and it is an 18 inches, so it's a little bit longer than it needs to be. I was okay with that. The muzzle brake on here, I used to have a 3-prong Vietnam-style flash hider, took that off, and decided to go with a brake just for recoil reduction, I guess. I mean, it didn't recoil that much anyways. I believe this is the mid-length gas system. The carbine system is what my other two ARs use, the 14.5 and my 10.5. I don't think this is the rifle version. The rifle gas system would be like out here, like a 20-inch AR, like an M16, it would be out here. This one is here, so it's kind of like right in between. Typically, I think what is recommended is this gas system because the other ones are a little bit more punchy. The carbine is what I have on the other two guns, are a bit punchier. These are kind of the best of both worlds, at least in my opinion. The longer ones can be undergassed and not work with like steel case underpowered ammo. And then the short ones, the carbine can be a little bit punchy, with full power 5.56 stuff, a little bit more gassy, a little bit more wear on the internals, but this one's kind of like right in between. Now I did have to change the gas rod on this, so I don't know. It's, again, seen give or take 10,000 rounds. It was about a year ago, about the same time I put the bipod on here, the gun stopped cycling. It just stopped cycling entirely. I actually bought a new extractor because I thought maybe it wasn't extracting the cases, but turns out I think it had to be the gas rod, and those go out over time just because they get hot. I mean, I would sit there and mag dump like this thing like crazy back when steel case was super cheap. So I ended up getting like a black nitride or black phosphorus, I forget. It's black, not silver. It was some special coating, and I think I spent 20 bucks on it. Tossed it in here and haven't had a single issue with it since then, which was about a year ago. So when I first got the gun, I was running this. This is a Primary Arms red dot. It's a T1 style. I used a UTG medium height riser. It's just a thumb screw. These are awesome. I actually have 2 of these risers on airsoft guns with just airsoft T1s. This red dot has always been great, very good. I love the Primary Arms. I think it was about $100. It was like 90, I think, without the riser. And just about 2 years ago, I put this Hollow Sun magnifier on there, and I was pretty happy with that setup. 3 magnification, pretty good. Well, I ended up finding a really good deal on a SIG scope, so I ended up just saying, screw it, I'm going to do the scope, and I'm going to take these off. But I ended up buying a Whiskey 3 SIG Sauer scope for $250 with the mount. Free shipping. Very good price. It was from MMC is the company. I think they're out of Utah. Great company, and I'm very happy with it so far. Have not got to shoot it yet, but so far the glass is actually a little bit more clear than my Vortex 1:4. So I have a Vortex 1:4 on my 14.5 inch, and this one is a little bit more clear in terms of the glass. So this is a 2-7, kind of a weird, like, why 2-7? Why not 1-6 or 1-8 or even 2-8? Yeah, 7, kind of weird. Well, I don't know. I didn't design it, but it is their budget line of optics. Now, the mount that it's in is a 1-inch Weaver, and the brand is Weaver, so it's not like a Vortex. Some of the mounts themselves cost like $150, $200, which is just way too expensive in my opinion. Some people like them, whatever. This one uses like these thumb knobs, but I tightened them with flathead, so they are flathead, so I cranked those sucker down, because you don't want to just hand tighten them, because they will loosen up. So I didn't use any Loctite, I just used a flathead and cranked that sucker down. I am taking this on Saturday to sight it in for 300 yards, so that 7 magnification will do that just fine. Now my Vortex 1:4, I actually shoot that at 300 yards with my 14.5, and it's pretty much, you sit benched shooting, and pretty much a guaranteed hit at that range. So you can see the logo on the top, Whiskey 3, SIG Sauer, and then the dial is here. So here's the dial on here, up to 7, all the way down to 2. Now it's got this dial here, which is really cool. It's like marked with green. I don't know if it actually glows in the dark. I don't think it does. It's just really bright, and it kind of captures light, so you can see which spot you're on. So that is really cool. I like that feature. And then again, it's just in a Weaver brand mount. I cranked these 8 screws down really, really hard. Didn't Loctite any of them, but I cranked them down as hard as I could go, because I don't plan on taking it off and on. It's there for good. So the ammo that I shoot through this thing is Wolf brass case. So they used to call this Wolf Gold. They changed the boxes. No, this is not really M193. It's been proven. There's been people that have done velocity tests. This is basically just a 223 loading. Now, I buy this online for about 50 cents a round, so not too bad of a price. Can find some for cheaper, but this is a 1 in 9, so it likes the 55 grain most, so that's what I'm going to use. I have an ammo can here. There's about 300, give or take a little bit more. I think it's 340 or 320. I think it's 340 is stuffed in there, so I do have some reserved ammo, like crap hits the fan, if you will. This is not like a do-it-all gun or anything. This is just a range gun, but I do always save like a container like this of the ammo that I sight my gun in for, just in case crap hits or whatever. But you can shoot any ammo through this, but this is what I'm going to sight it in for, since again, this optic I just changed. Now, you may be wondering, I totally skipped over the color of the gun. It is a Cerakote job. A friend of a friend did it, and I only paid, I think it was 60 bucks, and he did everything. The buffer tube, the lower upper rail. So I didn't pay a whole lot. It's not the best Cerakote job. It's like a glossy gray, which I would have rather had a matte color, but it's really grown on me. Like when I first got it back, I was like, oh, I don't really like that. But over the years, it's really grown on me, and I only spent 60 bucks on all of those components getting painted. So it's not that bad, and the paint is actually really strong. Like, it's not, you know, half-assed. It's good. It's just a glossy color when I was hoping for a matte color. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.